lucky to get to take it a little while back, and then get to work on it as well. So let's go ahead and get started here. We want to start off by asking you a little bit about yourself. We're here for you today, really to answer any questions you have and really give you the best information that we can for you. So part of that is we're going to run a poll here and learn a little bit about why you're here, what your background is. So what brought you to coaching? Why are you interested in coaching? Why are you here today? A lot of people may say it just seems like something that aligns with my passions, or somebody told me I should get into coaching. Maybe you're looking at a career shift. We have a lot of people who change careers from one of their sort of maybe after retirement, they're looking into coaching, or maybe they want to add coaching into something they're currently doing. And then some folks we get who are already coaches, but they're looking for their ICF certification, which is something we'll get into today as well. So Vincent, how are we doing on those answers? Okay, what do we have? Who's here today? A lot of passionate people looking to do some work, meaningful work with other folks. That's excellent. That's such a coach answer. And other folks saying, you know, yeah, you should check out coaching. Maybe you've been coached, and so you've had a little bit of an experience about what that looks like. And we've got, you know, another quarter of folks looking for a career shift. So welcome everybody. That's an excellent group. You're all in the right place. That sounds very familiar for our usual contingent of folks. So I just want to introduce myself. My name is Heather Ogle. I'm the program manager for our coaching program. And then we have other teammates as well. We have Christy Craig, who is our enrollment coach. Her info is here at the top of the screen, which is a good time to remind me to let you know this is going to be recorded and shared out. So don't feel like you have to feverishly take notes. You'll be getting this recording after it processes by tomorrow. And Christy is going to be your first point of contact when you have questions about the program or enrollment, anything like that. She is our frontline member and has all the information. She's super great for all of that. And then once you're in the program, I'll be your primary, and I'm supported by Joanna Siebert, who is our Associate Director of Business Programs. And then in our program, we have two program directors. These are the founders of the program. And when you're in class, you'll hear a little bit about how we began and why we're here. Basically, Carol Bennett, who is now finished her PhD recently in adult education and a PCC coach, saw very few opportunities in the West for coaching. It was really Harvard or Texas, or one of those over the phone programs. So, and this was years back. And so she came to UC Davis and got together with Michelle Payne, who is a world-renowned MCC master certified coach. And that was the birth of our program over 10 years ago. And so these are they both teach 2 courses within our program, so you get a lot of exposure with them. And then we're super lucky today to have an alumni from the winter class of 2020. Her name is Tracy Chris, and she is with us today. Hi, Tracy. Oh, let's see if we can get her turned up so she can say hi for us.
Hey there. Hi, Heather. Hi, everyone. It's so nice to be here today.
Excellent. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, sure. I just wanted to let everyone know why I joined the program. I was interested in getting my ICF certification, and I also liked the idea that UC Davis, I wanted a credential that had UC Davis name behind it. I felt that supported me very well in beginning my business. And the great thing about the UC Davis program also is that it's an ACTP, meaning it takes you all the way through that certification process up to the PCC level, which is, professional certified coach and 500 hours worth of coaching experience. And so I got all the education I needed up to that level. And that to me took a lot of headaches out of trying to find mentor coaches and practice partners and practice clients, and everything was taken care of for me in the program. And it was so easy to just go along with it. And now I have no worries. When I accumulate my full 500 hours for the PCC, I don't even have to take a test for it. I'm just ready to go. I just need the hours. So I feel very well prepared through this program. And I'm so happy I could be here to share that, because not all programs out there do this.
That's right. And you recently, I need to put the tag behind your name. You recently got your ACC, didn't you?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I finished, I was in the winter program. So I started in January of 2020 and I finished in July, I think, of 2020. And then by September or October, I was able to get my ACC with 100 hours of practice coaching.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm happy about that.
Well, thank you for being here, Tracy. We are going to throw you questions as we go along and have you available to provide that perspective of being in the program for everybody today. So thank you so much for hanging on, and then let's go ahead and keep going. Yeah. What do you have, Vincent?
Heather, we actually have a question right now. Can one of you explain what PCC and ACC means?
Sure. So yeah, we've jumped the gun with all of these lingos here. No, I started it. These are acronyms for a credential, a coaching credential that is given by another acronym, the ICF, the International Coach Federation. This is the #1 global coaching professional society, and our program aligns with their core competencies, such that when you finish our program, if you're interested in getting that credential, like an ACC or a PCC, those credentials, you can move forward very easily and get those credentials. So when you finish our program, you'll have a UC Davis certificate, and then we make it very easy to get a credential that comes after your name, Associate Certified Coach, or later a Professional Certified Coach. And then only a few people in the world make it to Master Certified Coach. Those are the 3 levels. And we'll go a little bit more. I'll have a slide looking at that here as we go. And so you can just kind of put that aside in the back of your head, that this is a credential for coaching, and it's an option that you can do after our program. But it's not required. It's just something that if you're interested, our program makes it pretty easy to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions, Vincent, that are coming through already?
Not at the moment, but hi everyone. I'm Vincent, and so I'm monitoring the chat and the Q&A box. Feel free to ask questions as we go along. Heather's given me permission to sort of call them out as we go.
Excellent. Thank you, Vincent. Okay. And as Vincent said, this is your session, so throw those questions in the Q&A box, and we will have a discussion and back and forth, because it's a lot more fun to do it that way than make you guys sit and watch and then take your questions. So throw them out there as we go. Here's our agenda for today. We're going to do just a touch point on what is coaching, how do we define coaching, and then we're going to talk about the program, the details, and then a little bit about how it's structured, class days, that kind of thing. And then we'll touch on this ICF, International Coach Federation, and then a couple of additional benefits that you get by taking the program. And then we'll reserve some time, extra time at the end for even more questions if we have them. Okay, so what is coaching, or what do we mean when we're talking about coaching? Because we're not talking about coaching soccer, right? We use the ICF definition, and that's here on the slide. But basically, you're going to partner with somebody, and you're going to be their processing partner. You're there to be a springboard for ideas and communicate back and forth to really help them find their own answers to solutions. We've all grown up having people tell us what to do. And I think we can all relate to the fact that you're much more likely to do something when you think of it yourself than you are when somebody tells you, you should do this, you have to do this, something like that. And there's science behind it, that it's true. When you decide that, you know what, I think this is the best avenue, you're way more likely to follow through and make that happen. And that's really what coaching is about. It's about being that person who can interact with the client so that they find that solution for themselves. Here's some things that can often be confused with coaching. Consultants or mentors, these are folks who have been there and done that. And you hire a mentor when you want them to say, you know what, this is a really good thing to try. This is something you should do. Somebody who has had the information, has had the struggle, and can really direct you in what you're going to be doing. That's great when you need a mentor, but that's not coaching, because we're not here to tell people what to do, right? Other things that are confused are therapists and counselors. And that can be very close sometimes, and might seem confusing. Well, we're helping people, so what's the difference? And really, coaching is about taking somebody where they are today and looking forward. What barriers are in front of you, between you and your goal? And whereas therapy or counseling is really something that's past focused. You're looking into your past, what happened that might be impacting how you live your life today. And that's not what coaching is. We're looking forward. So that's the difference between some of those things. And you do learn a lot about that in the program. And as well as ethics, about making sure that you're staying within the boundaries of coaching and all of these kinds of things. So that's the kind of coaching we're talking about here today. Let's do another poll. Have you ever had a coach? And we get folks who say, yeah, I've been receiving coaching for a super long time. It's really great. Folks who say, no, I've never had coaching. That's totally fine. People come into the program totally fresh and never had coaching, but they think, this all just sounds really up my alley. And so, Tracy, had you had any coaching before you started the program?
No, I never had.
Yeah, me either. And it's very common, but it's also fantastic. If you have been able to work with coaching, you certainly learn a lot about what to expect if you've had that chance. Let's take a look here. So you guys here today, about a quarter of you say, yes, you have had a coach. So that's great. And even more say you're working with a coach. So about 50% have had one and 50% say no, but you'd love the experience. So that's really great. I can tell you, you're going to receive a lot of coaching in the coaching program. You every afternoon is coaching back and forth with your classmates and practicing. So there's lots of opportunities to experience coaching. And that's one of the things, frankly, that makes this program so great, is that it's highly experiential. People say, can I miss a day, this and that, and we'll go over attendance policies later, but really you don't want to miss a day, because it's not a lot of lecture, it's practice and receiving that coaching so that you can then use it in the way you coach and really think about stuff. So it's, you want to be there for class for sure. Mm-hmm. So our philosophy of coaching, what makes our program different from another coaching program? I think all coaching programs sort of agree on the definition of coaching. So what makes us different? And that's the core foundation of the UC Davis program is that it's based on the core competencies of the ICF. It's based on the core skills that a coach needs, the fundamentals, just like the fundamentals of basketball, if you will. And you can take those skills then and use them in any avenue that you're interested in. So you can use those skills for life coaching. You can use the same skills as an executive coach. The same skills apply as a relationship coach. Really, listening well, asking really powerful questions. These are skills that are applicable and necessary in all kinds of styles of coaching. So we end up with a really interesting group of people because people come in with a lot of different interests and ideas about what they want to do with their coaching. And so it's a great mix, and you end up learning a bunch from each other. Tracy, did you have an idea about what you wanted to do avenue-wise when you started, and did it stay the same or did it change?
I knew that I wanted to make a career transition into becoming a full-time coach. And I had come from an organizational development and training background. And I decided I just didn't want to work in an organization anymore. I didn't want to be an employee anymore. I was ready to transition into the next phase of my life and feel more freedom and independence in doing work that really energized me, that I had control of, my own schedule. I could do it from anywhere in the world. That was really what I was looking forward to being able to do coming out of this program. And I had faith coming into the program that I would figure out how exactly I was going to use these skills. I didn't have a clear vision of what kind of coach exactly that I wanted to be yet. But I knew that the program was going to lead me through that process because I knew that we would be getting a lot of coaching throughout the program as we were moving through it. And that's exactly what happened. And of course, I'm continuing to evolve my niche since graduating the program. But when you said we do a lot of coaching in the program, I loved that. It is a very experiential program. And to the point where I was uncomfortable having to go coach on something I just learned. Like you said, every afternoon, every morning is you're learning a concept and getting an example of it. And then you have to go do it with someone, but you're like a family, you're with your cohort. And by the end of the program, you end up coaching with everyone who's in your cohort. And so you develop these strong bonds and this sense of vulnerability and acceptance and support that was probably the most valuable thing that I got out of this program. So yeah, I can see how you could apply everything that we learned in our program to absolutely to any one of these areas. Totally agree with that.
Fantastic, thanks. And that's a really great point you bring up about the cohort experience. Hey, Vincent, what do you got?
Yeah, so on the subject of all the different core competencies of coaching, could you talk about how the program covers coaching for different major life transitions, for different age and developmental ranges?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so life transitions, that's an easy one, absolutely. The skills that you have behind listening, just really listening well, and then asking a question that's going to make somebody think, that applies to life transitions as easily as it applies to executive coaching. It's really more about the kinds of questions you ask than it is about the specific area that they're in. Now we do have, you get to use some tools while you're in the program, like a values assessment. That can be a really good assessment to give somebody who's in a transition, so that they can really hone in, what are my core values, and am I currently living that way, or do I need to transition to something that meets those values? So the tools that you can provide to a client can really help depending on where they are and what they're interested in. The style of coaching, the questions you ask to really get them to think about things, that's going to be similar across a lot of different people. Now, with youth coaching, we don't go into a lot of specifics about what you might do with a teen versus an adult. I do know that we have had people from our program go on and do youth coaching, like they specifically came to the program. That's what they wanted to do. They did the program and then they went and did it. So it's absolutely applicable, but we don't have specific lecture or content on something you might consider with a teen versus an adult. So that would be something that's specific and you'd want to research on your own or in addition to the program. But all of the skills for listening and asking, that's still going to be something you need to speak with somebody no matter what their age is. So
And
hopefully that helps.
Thank you, Heather.
And Heather,
Yeah.
I just wanted to add to that. I remember in our program, our teachers, our instructors were executive coaches. All of them are executive coaches. And some of us found that a bit intimidating, and wondering if, hey, are what they teaching and what they know going to relate to what I want to do and what I want to know? And so many times they reminded us that executive coaching, they said, is life coaching. It all comes down to life issues. It comes down to how someone is seeing their world, evaluating their problems, talking to themselves, what their beliefs are. And so that's what we're talking about in the competencies, is helping people really internally diagnose, and recognize what their blocks are, what their limiting beliefs are, to help them overcome them. And the process helps them do that. So that's why it's applicable in all of these areas. And then if you have a special expertise in youth leadership, or in my case, it's leadership in organizations, and I decided to kind of niche back into that, then you bring your own, background with you, but it's not necessary. And that's one thing I learned in the program over and over again. You don't have to be an expert in the area you're coaching. You just have to know how to coach, because you're not giving any answers. You're helping them find their answers. And that really had to be drilled in to a lot of us, I think, because we thought we had to be experts.
That's a really great point, Tracy. And it's something hard to incorporate and let go of, well, but I need to be an executive to coach executives because they have to relate to me and things like that. And it's hard to let that go and realize, no, I need to be a coach because that's why I'm here. And let them figure out their answer, because they're the executive. They're the one who knows everything about their problem. Help them figure it out. Yeah, really great points. All right, let's keep going. Here are our 5 classes within the program. So it's one big package to try and just make everything really easy. One price, one package, and what you're getting are 5 individual classes. And you'll go through these classes with your cohort all together. And so here are the 5. You start off with coaching essentials. That's really the ethics of coaching, what coaching is, making your own definition of coaching. Then we get into core competencies. That's the real skill part. And these are the core competencies as defined by the International Coach Federation. And then mindset, coaching mindset is really taking a look at yourself and checking your foundations and your values and making sure that you have the most solid foundation you can to work off of and then coach other people. Coaching conversations gets a little bit into the science behind coaching. It really gets into some of the neurolinguistics involved in coaching. So some people love that part, some people don't. If it's not your cup of tea, but it is a fascinating part of the program. And then finally, Coach Mastery. You meet back with Michelle Payne, our MCC, and really hone your skills, start looking at what you want your niche to be, looking into what do you want to do after the program, these kinds of things. And it's good to mention that the number 4, the coaching conversations, is taught by our other instructor, Lori Cozart, who also recently just got her MCC. So we're super excited to have 2 master coaches teaching for our program. As most of you probably realize by now, we are online. This program in the past has been in person in Sacramento, but we haven't done that for quite a while now. We are online, and over I hear people say it's really impressive, the experience you can have online. The computer screen just kind of melts away, and when you're coaching with somebody, it's so intense. You really just feel like you're sitting right across from them. So it's fantastic. We're lucky that that's the case because doing our program online, we were always wondering, oh gosh, I don't know, but it's been a fantastic experience actually. So same format, Fridays and Saturdays, all day, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. both days. So they're long days. You want to stand up a lot and stretch, but it's a really great, turns out to be a great way to do the class. Tracy, any comments on your part of the online experience?
I'm so glad you asked me that, because one of the big reasons I signed up for this program initially, because it was live in January of 2020, was because it was an in-person program. And I wanted the in-person experience. I wanted to be able to develop those relationships with everyone. And so for the first 6 weeks, maybe, it was in person. And then mid-March, I think, we went to online. And I remember you guys were so gracious, giving people the opportunity to even bow out of the program if they didn't want that experience. But I cannot believe how quickly you were able to pivot. And Heather, I think a lot of this goes to you because you figured it out. And even on our demo day, when we were supposed to be able to gather and watch an interaction between the master coaches and someone else being coached as an example and to help learn, we were able to do that online and in our mini groups. And everything that we did afterwards online was completely interactive. You know, we had breakout groups, we had one-on-one coaching with each other, we'd come back into the main room. So it never felt like I was just staring at a screen, you know, all day. And then the classes were completely interactive. We were all on screen together. We could ask questions just as if we were in the normal classroom throughout a talk. So I highly, highly recommend it, and not let that be a deterrent, because it felt the same once we moved to the online platform. So I was really happy with that.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. Because yeah, Tracy, you got to experience the switch when COVID hit initially, and we had to transition mid-program. So she has the best of both worlds, those experiences.
Heather, we actually have a few questions.
Yeah, let's knock them out. What do you have?
On the topic of, being virtual, if someone starts the program virtual, will they continue being virtual?
Great question, and absolutely. Yeah, we don't want to play gotcha with anybody. We have no plans to go back to in-person in the next, year, 2 years. It's a big production to do this in person. So it's definitely would happen after COVID, very, very long time after COVID is very much not a thing anymore. So all that to say, guaranteed in person right now, guaranteed online right now, online. And we wouldn't switch it up on you or anything like that.
Great, thank you, Heather. And then can you reiterate, is this every Friday and Saturday for 6 months? Can you just talk again about the duration and timing?
Yeah, good question, because this is a little vague. It's Fridays and Saturdays, basically every other week is the pattern. So you'll have a week of class, and then you have a week off to practice your coaching, do some of the reading, do some of the homework. And then the following week, you would come back and have a Friday and a Saturday. And it follows that sort of pattern for about 5 months. And I have a schedule here that we can look at in a second. There are 20 sessions altogether that you'll meet. So, and it's really important when you're looking into a certain schedule, whether it's the summer schedule or the winter schedule, to make sure that you have availability to be there every day, particularly if you're interested in ICF certification. We build the program so that you can miss 2 days of class. If you miss more than that, you're not going to be able to graduate because you need all of those hours. And you really want to be there. You miss a lot of fantastic experience if you can't make it. So double check, cross check with the schedule, make sure that you would have availability to be there and can plan ahead. And if you know, gosh, my son or daughter is getting married some weekend or something like that, you may consider postponing till the next session. And it's something we can always talk about with our enrollment coach, Christy. We're very happy to hash that stuff out and make plans with you guys. Anything else on the schedule, Vincent?
Yeah, back on the sort of style of coaching, the coaching model, does it focus mostly on one-on-one coaching, or does it also talk about coaching teams and groups of people?
Nice question. It focuses on the one-on-one because these are the fundamentals of coaching. If you ask a question about Teams coaching, the instructors will be happy to talk about it. Or, if you're really curious, you might ask them for some info over lunch. And if you have already been coaching for a while and are looking for a program that does Teams coaching, I might say keep an eye out in the future, because that's something that one of our instructors does very well, and we're working with her to see about what kind of offerings we can do in the future on something like that. But this program is all about the fundamentals, and so we do 99% one-on-one.
And sorry, one more question. For someone who's working full-time, sort of 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, is there flexibility with the scheduling of those live sessions?
Unfortunately, there is not. This is something we've gone back and forth with a lot. And when we try to do a program that's maybe weeknights, for folks who are working 5 days a week, we are just not able to sustain enough numbers to run that kind of a program. We have seen people be successful with doing maybe a part-time timeshare with work. So you say, I'll take vacation days for part, and you do let me off on the other Fridays as work development. And, we're happy to provide information on how, coaching enhances your work. We'd have to find out what you're doing, but I know a lot of people who made an arrangement like that work so that they could get the Fridays off to do the program. But good question.
Thank you, Heather. And then one more question. Can you talk about how many people are in a cohort?
Yeah, so it ranges. It is an application-based program, and we take anywhere between 30 and 40 students these days. Being online does let us take more people than we could fit in a physical classroom. And we are compensating for that by having extra mentors, extra people to work with students. So the ratio of people working together is still the same. But yeah, you're looking at between 30 to 40 folks generally in a class together. All right, let's keep going here. Another poll. So it used to be really important that people would be, close to Sacramento, a little bit less these days, but we're still curious about where you guys would be coming from. We have had people, back when it was in person, we had a couple fly out every other weekend from DC. So that was interesting. We've had people from Germany and Chile relocate to the area for the 5 months. And being online, we still have folks on the East Coast. So let's see, how far afield are you guys? There we go. I think the farthest away that I know was Germany. And then we had one person who was looking to do the program maybe from Japan, but that was going to be an almost full time flip. And that would have been pretty difficult. Unless you're a night owl, I guess. Okay, almost half the folks are still right around Sacramento, so that's fantastic. We're all neighbors. And then Northern California, we have a few, absolutely. And Bay Area, we definitely have a lot of folks come from the Bay Area usually. And then a big chunk, about 1/4 from Southern California, which is something we're seeing now that we're online, which is really great for the Southern California folks. It's a group that we haven't been able to interact with and cater to before. So it's really exciting to see you guys here. And then we've got 4 people online who are from outside California. So that's fantastic. It's being online is certainly helping us reach a broader group of people, which is wonderful. We always want to, share the coaching. So thank you for that. That is helpful for us as well, just to keep track. Here is that schedule that I mentioned. Again, you can always contact us to receive a copy of this in an email. This recording will be sent out, so you'll also have it in the recording. This is the actual schedule for the summertime. You can see that we're going to start in August, and then you finish up the very first week of December. So it's 20 days spread out over the 5 months, and in general, you're looking at skipping a week in between the 2 weeks. Sometimes that's messed up a little by a holiday or something. We might have a back-to-back. So it's not a perfect pattern, but this is our schedule. And again, those 5 different classes, the essentials, the core competencies, mindset, conversations, and mastery. And then the other thing you'll see here is that there's something called Demo Day, which is Tracy also alluded to. We've got 2 full days of demonstration and practice coaching built into the program, where you are coaching a classmate in front of your classmates. And it's something that terrifies some people and really excites other people. I will say people are always happy after they do it. Tracy, what was your experience with that? Were you one of the terrifieds or the exciteds?
Yeah, exactly that. It's completely terrifying to know it's coming up. Like when that week is coming, you like, oh my God, I can't imagine everyone like sitting around watching me and observing me and then giving me feedback. So our first demo day happened to be online. And what we did, instead of having the whole class watch you, we broke out into breakouts of 5 to 7 people, maybe, with a mentor coach and who facilitated it. And it was actually wonderful. So that didn't feel intimidating, being in our own little group. And then we all got to listen to each other, coach each other, and one at a time, one-on-one, and give our feedback. And we actually even supplied some written feedback afterwards. And that was extremely helpful, because how often do you get a chance to get feedback from 5 different points of view? And so that was actually wonderful.
Great, excellent. Yeah, everything Tracy said, it's terrifying, but both to receive feedback and to watch and see how other people do it.
Yeah.
It's just a really fantastic learning opportunity. Okay, so here's a breakdown of the cost. Cost is always important to people. And right now the program is $83.25. That is a highly competitive price in the market for coaching programs. And what does it get you? Everything. It gets you the tuition, your materials. It gets you a mentor coach, which we've alluded to, and I'll go into a little bit more in a second. Clients, we provide you your first client who's a volunteer who knows they're working with students. They get free coaching and you get somebody to work with, so it's a win-win. You also get a pro level Zoom access while you're in the program, so that you can have transcripts of the coaching that you do with each other and with your client. That's really important for the learning process, as well as providing transcripts to your mentor and having that for the ICF if you're interested in pursuing ICF. So right now we're in the early application period, and March 15th is the deadline. So this is really the best chance for getting into the program. It's a competitive application process, and it does fill up. We did have to turn away really great applicants last 2 sessions, and if that happens, we'll work with you and see if we can get you in the next program, that kind of thing. But if you have your heart set on this schedule, this time, then I recommend getting that application in during this application cycle here by March 15th, because that's the fewest applications to compete with. Okay.
Can I actually ask Tracy a couple questions?
Yeah.
Someone asked if you could talk about specifically how life coaching fits in a corporation.
Yeah, I remember we had a hard time understanding that when our instructors would say it's all life coaching. So And it's true. It really is true, whichever venue you're practicing in, because you're starting with your client. What does your client want that she doesn't have? And, getting to the heart of what's missing and what would the dream look like? So what do you want? And what don't you have? And what outcome do you really want? And helping them get clear on the outcome. And then focusing internally on what's going on inside and beginning to find out what those blocks are and associating them very strongly with their emotional side as well. And I think when we think of corporate coaching and coaching in a work environment, we think it's all very intellectual and accountability driven, and that might be the way some managers coach, their employees. But in this case, we're very much bringing a person into alignment with who they are. And sometimes you have to help them even discover what are their core values that's driving them. And are they out of alignment with operating within them? Are they in alignment with how they're treating their body and what their thoughts are and their actions? Are all of those things in alignment? And many times they're not. And much of the leadership coaching that I've done has helped people really get in touch with their empathetic self, because they're very, high performing, driving managers, and they're having problems working, motivating their employees and making their team feel safe and be creative. And they don't know how to make that happen because they're used to having their head down working, and saying thank you isn't enough. What do you mean you're not feeling valued? And so what we're helping our clients do in that setting is really just self-actualize and become more of a whole person. And I think that's what I would say in terms of that's what the life coaching is in a corporation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. And since you took the program, can you talk about how you decided on this program over others?
I saw a few other programs that looked cheaper. I thought they were less money initially. And when I looked into them further, they got me to the ACC level of education. So it wasn't the full 150 hours in that initial price. It was maybe 100 hours of education or 75 hours of education, I think, to get to the ACC level. And then if I wanted to get to the PCC level, I had to pay for more education. I had to pay for a mentor coach on top of that. And when I added up the pricing, it came up to the same. And then I just didn't, I've never heard of some of these organizations before, and I didn't really feel like I had a good sense to be able to trust that they weren't really solid and well respected and recognized. With UC Davis, I didn't have to worry about that. I just knew that the name itself and that the program would be of high integrity, and that was the main reason. And of course, just getting me to the higher level of education, so I don't have to worry at this point. All I have to do is coach for, 350 more hours to get my PCC. I don't have to do any more education. I don't have to do mentor coaching. I don't have to take another test.
Excellent. So our coaching community, we have an alumni association that continues after you finish the cohort. We've got a closed Facebook group. Many cohorts make their own Facebook groups to communicate with each other. So I'm speeding up here a little bit so that we can get through everything, but the community that you have after you finish the program is a super valuable thing that you get as part of the program, really, because they're gonna help you with your business. They're gonna help you stay motivated and do what, keep up with your goals that you might have. So we're gonna skip the poll about ICF, and we're just gonna go ahead and talk about it because we've been mentioning it a lot. So as I mentioned, it's a global association, and it's one of the top respected and recognized associations, professional associations for coaching. And that's why our program aligned with them initially. And Tracy mentioned this ACTP acronym at one point, that is Accredited Coach Training Program. And we are an ACTP. And so you know that we are fulfilling all of the requirements of the ICF to provide this education. She also mentioned the number of hours. So our program is 150 hours of this coach-specific training. If you're interested in getting one of these accreditations after your name, ACC, PCC, that kind of thing, you have to have multiple things, and one of them are coach-specific training hours. Another thing that you have to have is a mentor coach. And this is someone who will listen to recordings that you've done of coaching, look at the transcripts of the coaching, and really mentor you on your technique. It's incredibly valuable to your learning process. And it's something, if it's not included in a program, you're going to be paying somebody about $2,000 to do this for you. They have to be a PCC level coach, and it's not cheap. But our directors recognize how important it is, not only for the ICF, but for the learning process. So it's included in the program. You don't have to worry about finding one later, anything like that. It's all taken care of. And then that client pairing, for folks who don't already have a network of folks that they're working with outside of coaching, it can be scary to find that first person to start coaching. And so we take some of the anxiety out of that process by providing you with somebody to start working with. And here's all of those requirements, and it looks kind of crazy. But basically, our program does all of this, with the exception of just one or two things. So this first level is the ACC, that Associate Certified Coach. Do you have the training? Yes, we take care of that. Do you have the documentation? Yep. Mentor coaching? Yep. Reference letters? Absolutely. Have you done an oral exam? You do that in the program. So what's left are these practice hours. For your first level, you need 100 practice hours. You're going to knock some of this out as part of the program, but we do not guarantee that you'll have all of those when you finish the program. This is something that you're responsible for as you move forward. Part of that's because we're not just an ICF program where we do that, but we're also here for people who are just interested in learning about coaching. And so you're going to continue to gather those hours as you finish the program. And most folks take about 6 months to finish those hours. Some folks who are really just on it and it's what they're doing, they finish in about a month. So it's up to you and your timeline for how quickly you finish those hours. And those hours can be gained by coaching your fellow cohort mates. So you can coach each other back and forth. And as long as it's not a homework assignment, as long as it's outside of class, those count as practice hours. If it's a homework assignment, that's part of the training, the classroom hours. It can seem a little complicated, but they go over it in class. The idea is, though, that you can get these hours fairly quickly if that's what you want to do, if you're really interested in that. Then, as Tracy mentioned, our program gets you all the way to PCC. So not only do we do everything in the blue, we also do all of this in the yellow. And then you need 500 hours. So after you finish your 500 hours, you take that certificate back to the ICF. You say, hey, I'm still a UC Davis graduated coach. They say, awesome. Do you have your hours? Awesome. Here's your PCC. So that's in a really quick overview. If you're interested in certification, our program leads you up to that very well. There's an exam that you have to take for a fee. That's with the ICF, that's separate from us. But we prepare you really, really well for that exam. Tracy, what would you say about taking that exam?
Well, made it a bigger deal than it was. And the exam, we did a final with our class, I remember, which was on the competencies. It was just a written review of what the competencies are, was the final for the class. So that was really easy. And then, yeah, I was perfectly prepared to take the test with the ICF as well. And that was, can't remember how many questions it was. They give you 3 hours, so it feels intimidating and extensive, but it wasn't. It was fine. It's multiple choice. And it's situation oriented. It's not a simple, thing. You have to really kind of think, what's the best answer out of the 4? And there are example questions on the ICF website to prepare for that as well. So yeah, I felt very well prepared for it.
Great. All right. Here's one of the other perks of the program. We are an academically approved program by the graduate school. This is an academic program. There is homework. You will be working some weeks more than others. And again, that ties in with the integrity of the program, the fact that we are a UC Davis program. And because of that, you can use this class as a stepping stone to a master's degree. So if you have your undergraduate degree, you can then get a master's in organizational learning and effectiveness. It's a mouthful. From the University of Pacific. It's done online, and you're left with just 7 classes. So it really knocks out almost half of the master's degree by taking this program. And we have at least one person every year who ends up taking advantage of this and knocking out a master's degree in the 6 months after the program. So that's really fantastic. It's just one of those nice options if it's something you're interested in, that because of the quality of the program, we have this agreement set up. You can just transfer right into to the master's. All right. Again, the deadline is the 15th for the application in this early application cycle. You'll be notified of your status of waitlist accepted, et cetera, by the 31st. The application is super easy as far as the tech of it. You go online, you click start application. It's free, no cost. Real important, include your work history. That's the one requirement of the program. You need 5 years of work history. And that basically gets at, we're looking for people with some life experience and consistency. So it is a requirement, include your work history. If you're changing, a career changer, that's totally fine. You can put career changer previously, whatever. That's great. It's 4 questions, 4 essays. Please, 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 please try your best to meet the 300 to 500 word recommendation. This is all about sharing your story. The director wants to get to know you as a person. Accolades and previous coaching experience and stuff like that matters less than really sharing through your passion for coaching and why you're interested. So share your story, write more than a sentence. If you write a sentence, 2 sentences, hopefully I'll catch that, or one of our other team members will catch that and turn it back around to you and say, hey, the director is going to turn this down. We're going to give you a second chance, expand on that answer. Because you just really want to provide a lot of information, or else she's going to say, there's not enough info here, please ask them for more information. So that's the bit on the application. Financing your education. We do have private student loans that the university works with. We have a payment plan. We're one of the only programs left to keep a payment plan, but it's the one thing that we can still do to try and help with the cost of the program. We know it's a lot to throw down all at once. So you can contact Christy or myself about that payment plan. It splits it up into 3 payments. And then additionally, just for coming and being here today, you're all going to be receiving a coupon code for $100 off enrollment. So it's not a ton of cash, but it's a nice little thank you for being here. And then I wanted to rush through all of that stuff, so we had time for more questions. Any other questions that are out there, Vincent?
Thanks, Heather. We have a question for Tracy. Tracy, if you could talk about juggling completing coaching hours with a day job.
Well, I wasn't working in a job at the time, so I didn't have that issue. And I know, though, that I was doing a lot of peer coaching with people in my cohort. And in their cases, we would do it on the weekend and we would do it weeknights.
Yeah, I know another cohort mate who would do lunch hours. And so she would just schedule her, 4 lunch hours and a weekend session. And you do that every week, and pretty quickly you can knock out those hours.
Thank you. And then, since we have a little time, I actually got a few questions about the diversity of our students. I know UC Davis has a strong commitment to our principles of community, but I don't know specifically the sort of community of coaching students. So could you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, great question. We do our best through the applications to select a diverse group of people, as diverse as possible, whether we're talking about work history. We've had people who are Sacramento bartenders and Intel executive coaches in the same cohort. If we're talking about age, we've had 30-somethings with 60 and overs. Racial demographics, going online has really helped us reach a huge, broad, much broader demographic, so that we have just a beautiful mix of people in the program. And experience levels with coaching varies. We have people who have never been coached ever in their life, and then we have people who are doing their coaching and they're here for their certification. And we look for that kind of diversity in those application answers to create this mix of people that you're going to learn from each other as much as you do, in the actual class. Tracy, do you have any comments on the diversity of your cohort and the people who were in there?
It was very helpful to have that diversity, just because when people have different life experiences than you and different goals than you, and they do see things differently than you. And so we were interacting with each other so much throughout the program that you got the benefit of just being able to, without judgment, say, wow, I never looked at things that way, and I didn't realize anyone did. It was just very eye-opening. It was very opened up my worldview to be working with these people.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I had a police officer in my cohort, and I remember I was a little bit nervous the first time, just because, you don't want to get pulled over by the police officer. And the first time I had lunch with him, and it was fantastic. Just how much we had in common, and how much, why he was there, and, just the different styles of people that end up in this program. It's really rewarding to be in there with those folks.
Thank you. A question came in. Does the program provide materials people can use in their life coaching business?
Yeah, so we do have, as I mentioned, some of those tools, like a values assessment that we practice with in the program, and you're welcome to continue to use those in your practice. There's also, whether or not you end up getting certified, if you do join the ICF, they are a great resource for additional surveys and tools for coaching. So there are, plenty of options for these. There's a word that my brain's looking for. It's not finding it, but these tools through the program, and then also pointing towards other places to find materials. Inevitably, the cohort members make a Google Doc for sharing resources that they find. And every single time they end up somebody decides, yeah, we need to do this, and they start sharing those resources and have a really great list of all kinds of stuff, from TED Talks and books to surveys and that kind of thing. Any other questions?
Let's see.
Couple more minutes here.
Yeah. I think the questions that are coming in are a little more specific.
Okay.
So I'll just once again share Christy Craig's email. She's our enrollment coach, and she can definitely answer more specifically to those questions. And you can also feel free to schedule a meeting with her through the Calendly link. It's in the chat earlier, so I'll try to copy and paste that again so that you all have that.
And then the application, if you just search UC Davis Coaching on Google, we pop right up. And let's see. Go ahead, and I'm going to stop my share. And for the folks who are still hanging with us, let's see, I'll go ahead and show you. Let me get out. Here we are. Do the thing you're never supposed to do, which is share your main screen. We've got 2 pages that you might arrive on. So here's one of them. If you do, this is just talking about our class in general. Here's the info session that you found. You need to click on this guy right here to get to our certificate and the application. So you would want to do that. And you'll see the apply now button right here. And that takes you straight to the application, no fee. You can start it and come back later. If it gives you any troubles, like you try to submit and it's just being fussy and giving you an error message, do not waste your time trying to make the computer happy, please. Just paste them into an email. My email's on the application, and send them to me. I can put them into the system from the back end. For some reason, it lets me do that, but sometimes it'll give an error in the front end. If you get that error, do not worry about it. Just put them in an email and send them my way. So this is where, and I can even grab this and throw it in the chat for you guys. There we go. Oh, nope. I want it to go to everybody. There we go. And that's where you can find our application. Right. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here with us today. As Vincent mentioned, if you have any more questions, please feel free to contact Christy. That's why she's here. And thank you so much, Tracy, for joining us. Really, really glad you could be here today.
My pleasure.
Absolutely. And let's see. One last question I saw, launching their coaching business. Absolutely. Anybody who wanted to launch a business has launched a business. It's just the timeline that differs. Some people take, 3 years to just work slowly up to it. And they do some coaching on the side while they do their normal business. And then some people are really gung-ho and they just finish all their hours right away, get their website up, and they're up and running. So it's more of just a time difference of what your style is and how much time you have to devote to getting ready and stuff like that for your business. Also, I'll plug the ICF one more time. They have a really great seminar on starting your coaching business. It's business practices specifically for coaches. And I always recommend that to our graduates as a next step. So,
oh, Heather, can I make
yeah.
one plug too that I think would be really valuable for people? Is the ICF Sacramento chapter is a wonderful resource, especially for so many people that are regionally close to us. It's a really active chapter, wonderful family-like atmosphere, a lot going on, and a lot of opportunities for new coaches to just really ramp up on the whole coaching industry and professionalism and resources and mentors. And there's just so much there. And it's it's exciting. It's an exciting place to be and develop your professional relationships.
Thanks so much, Tracy. That is a really great point.
You don't have
okay,
to be
guys.
a coach to join. Yeah.
Also a good point.
Yeah.
Okay, if you guys have more questions, go ahead and send them our way. We're going to go ahead and respect folks' time and close the session now, but we really hope this was helpful to you, and I hope to see your applications. Have a good day.
Bye.